to solve this equation. So first we have to make sure that we are isolating the x. Whatever we do has to be working toward getting that x alone, because on the other side of the equal sign, that's going to be our answer. The other thing to remember is balance. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other because it is an equation. So first of all, I'm going to deal with this 20, and we have to remember that it is a positive 20. Even though we don't put the positive there, we have to remember that. So the inverse operation is minus 20. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. Let's draw a line under that operation. So positive 20 and negative 20 cancels each other out, leaving us with negative 7. We bring that down. 6x, we didn't do anything with that in this step, so we bring it right down. And now we'll combine negative 6 and negative 20 for a negative 26. So now it's time to combine negative 7x and 6x. So if you're thinking about taking negative 7x and moving it over to the right to be with the 6x on the right side of the equal sign, will that work? No, that won't work because we'll have a 0 on the left side of the equation. So let's do the inverse of 6x, which is negative 6x. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. 6x minus 6x cancels. We'll combine here, leaving us with negative 13x. And on the right side of the equal sign, we have negative 26. The answer is becoming more clear now, isn't it? Now, what is the inverse operation to multiply? Divide. So we have to divide here. The same thing, 13, negative 13. And I like to put the number I'm dividing by right underneath, so it's really clear that it is 1. Negative 13 over 13 is 1, really leaving this to be x. But what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 26 divided by 13 is 2. So x equals 2. Now let's go back in time, and instead of starting with the 20 over here, instead let's start with this negative 6 this time. Let's see if we get the same answer. So what is the opposite or inverse operation of negative 6? Well, it's a positive 6. So we do that to the other side. Cancels to 0. And then we have a 26. We didn't do anything with negative 7x, so we bring it right down. Nor did we do anything with 6x, so we bring it right down. Now we need to combine negative 7x with 6x by doing the inverse operation. Add 7x to both sides. Cancels to a 0, leaving 26 equals 13x. Now, we need to do the inverse operation here to isolate the x. The inverse of multiply is divide. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other, leaving us with x equals 2. So both ways we got x equals 2. But let's go ahead and have good algebraic practice, and we're going to check. So if we know that x equals 2, when we plug it in, what I call plug and chug, when we plug it in here for x, it should be that the right side and the left side equal each other, because this is an equation. So let's place some parentheses where the x is, and we'll place our 2 in there, because remember we solved for x and it was 2. Let's go ahead and write the rest of our equation and then check. With our order of operations, we know we need to deal with inside the parentheses first, and there's nothing to do inside the parentheses. There are no exponents to deal with. Now we need to multiply and divide, heading from left to right. Well, the first multiply divide I see is right here. Negative 7 times 2, which is negative 14. 20 minus 14 is 6. Let's solve for the other side. We have, moving from left to right, the multiply divide step. Well, we have multiply. 6 times 2, which is 12. And minus 6, that's the last thing left, and that is 6. 6 equals 6, that is true. Yes, we have solved this, and we have solved this correctly. X equals 2.